All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath on this 13th day. George is right, 3/3/13. That's our date, the day of our new Pope. Joining us now from another Colorado resident is our friend Freeman Burt. It's been a while since we've had him on, but he's got some new exciting news, I guess, or new exciting endeavor that he's undertaken, and we're going to talk about it. Freeman Burt, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio.
Hi there. Thanks, but I need to correct you right off the bat. But
I knew it. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I said I'm going to get corrected on resident. Here we go. Go ahead. Where did I go wrong?
I am not a Colorado resident.
Okay. Tell me what's wrong about that.
The problem with that is that if the legal people hear you say that, then it means that you are basically temporarily living on the land known as Colorado, and your actual domicile, actual home is in the District of Columbia.
There you go. I knew, like I said, I don't know if you heard me pause when I said that. But as soon as it came out of my mouth, I thought there is a correction on the way. But you know what? It's working, Bert, and here's why. Because I work really hard now to avoid saying certain things because I agree with you 100% on them. One of them is when I talk about Washington, D.C., and I say our representatives. Sometimes I still say it, but I usually do it in a manner of, a quote, our representatives. But it always sticks with me that, they don't represent us.
Yeah, they don't. And it's a habit.
Yeah.
But, some of the things that I want to pass on to you and some of your listeners that will really help them in the future when they're especially filling out any kind of forms, either governmental or corporate, that they basically need to be kind of aware of. But wait a minute,
how would I introduce you then? On the next time you're on, a person. This is my friend Burt, who happens to be living in the state known as Colorado.
Okay, how about like this? A man known as Burt, living on this land known as Colorado,
I got a better one.
Which is also known as one of the states united.
Okay.
See, another little correction you may want to do with your language whenever you're speaking about the United States and referring to the 50 states, don't call it the United States, call it the States United.
Is that the correct position?
That makes more sense because the United States
we're in right now.
What's that?
Is that the posture the U.S. is in right now? We are the States United.
Well, when you refer to the United States, you're speaking about the federal government and nothing else. And, you can ask any politician or any government entity this question. Ask them, is the United States equal to States United? And they're going to tell you no. They mean totally different things.
No, it makes sense to me. And but I think I have a better one. How about joining us from Colorado, Burt? I can't go wrong with that.
That's shorter and sweet.
It's shorter and sweet, and it avoids any landmines, any correction landmines that I'm going to get, because you are joining us, and you are in Colorado.
So yeah, I'm someplace called Colorado.
Well, everybody's got to be somewhere, and right now you're in some place called Colorado. How was your weather? You guys got quite a storm last week, I was informed. Well,
yeah, there
was a lot of hype for the storm, at least.
Yeah, it's it's the spring. That's what we get out here. I mean, the people who measure the water underground, and the farmers, of course, they love this snowfall.
Do me a favor, Burt, joining us from the land known Colorado. Your microphone, if you're on a headset, it's rubbing against something when you talk. So
I know what it was. It was a cable that was moving out of the way.
Ah, okay, good. Yeah, so weather-wise, yes, the farmers love the snow, and you know what, I my girlfriend, you know this, lives in Colorado right now. Anyway, she is a lady in a place known as Colorado, and she teases me all the time because eventually she's going to be up here in a place called Montana, and it's always 20, 30 degrees cooler here than it is where you're at. So I actually, when I go down there, and kind of enjoy that weather.
Yeah, well, I love it out here. Love it. Love the weather.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to run into the first break here in about 4 minutes. First of all, tell us where we can get all your information besides the program that we're going to, or the your training program that we're going to talk about tonight. Where can we see your work? Where can we get a copy of your book, Arms Not Firearms? Give us the whole spiel about Burt in a land known as Colorado.
Yeah, well, I'm basically a guy that started researching about the law and being free about 15 to 20 years ago, and like most people out there, I was getting a lot of my information secondhand or third hand, and when I started actually researching it for myself with my own eyes and with my own brain, things began to make more sense. When I actually started reading the statutes, the codes, the ordinances, and the Constitution, all the organic documents, things began to make a lot more sense. And therefore, now I'm at a point where I'm actually feeling much more comfortable challenging the so-called legal authorities, because I'm coming to find out that it's nothing but smoking mirrors. They have absolutely no authority. And the funny thing about this is that not a single code or a single statute applies to any man or woman out there or child without consent.
Yeah, and I think that would be arguably, and if I'm wrong, you're going to tell me so, arguably it would be the number one lesson you could probably start out somebody with is everything that happens to you happens to you with your consent, correct?
Yes, because like I will hopefully get into here in a little bit, is that think about this. Every time you deal with this so-called government agencies, there always seems to be some kind of dollar amount exchanged. You get a driver's license, you exchange money. When you get a permit to have your house, built or remodeled, you exchange money. Everything involves exchanging money, which means what? You are buying a service. When you go to court, don't they make you pay a filing fee?
Yes.
You're buying a service. You're paying for something. Everything that you're doing, you're paying for something. So it's no different than going to Walmart, and you buy a pair of sandals or whatever. You're entering into a service.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, but are you saying that entering into if they're serving you, what is your point on that? Is it we don't get the service that we pay for, or is it that we're entering these financial contracts?
No, the point with this is that if you're paying for a service, you obviously have the choice not to pay it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And not to enter into such contract, especially if the contract includes beating you over the head with a baseball bat. Why would you want to pay for that service?
I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Right, but in reality, people are doing this every day by the millions.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And from some of the reports I've been doing lately, it promises to get a whole lot worse. And I don't know if you've been following recently. And I promise we're going to get into the training, your training program that you're kicking off. But it's I get you on the program, and I love learning from you, because you're like I've told you before, off air and on air, that you break things down and make it easy to understand without grabbing a 2x4 and trying to beat it into somebody's head. But we're going to hit the break right here, so I'll continue that point about knowledge and applying that knowledge on the backside of this break. We're going to be back with Freeman Burt, who happens to be in a place that is called Colorado. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Much better than the other one.
Yeah, I feel better about it. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio, our second segment of the second hour on the 13th day of the third month of the 2013th year, the year that we got the New World Pope. We are joined by Freeman Burt, a man joining us from a place known as Colorado, and somebody put in chat that he sounds like the Stimulator on YouTube, and I had no idea who that was, so I went and found a video, and sure enough, I think Freeman Burt is moonlighting as a stimulator because he kind of just sounds like him. And I put that video into chat a few minutes ago. You guys can check that out. Fast forward to about, well, no, it's a good video, actually. The whole thing is really good. But in about 48 seconds, he talks, and it does sound like our buddy Freeman Burt. Okay, enough jocularity. Let's get into this a little bit here. I've done videos of late. The last several have had to do with the most dangerous form of tyranny in the world, which is soft tyranny, which is what we are experiencing right now. There's no shadow of a doubt that this is true. This isn't conspiracy. It is happening all around us. You know, we have everything from 2,700 vehicles, up-armored vehicles being bought by Homeland Security, to legislation promising 30-plus thousand drones flying around, and the build-out of security industrial complex. And I know you guys probably get sick of hearing that term, but this is the world we live in. The soft tyranny, of course, is the fact that the people of this country sit back and are willing participants. They are willing to sit back and let these so-called representatives, don't get on my case, Burt, so-called representatives in Washington, D.C., pass legislation because it's under the guise of protecting the people of the country. And, you know, with the buildup of this police state, Burt, it's becoming ever more, especially in Denver. You know, when I'm down there, I'm still in small town America, right? Where, although we still have the I can't use this word. Our police force is being turned into an army. How about that?
Militarized? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Militarization of our police force. We still have it here, but nowhere to the extent that I see when I go into major metropolitan areas such as Denver. You know, the amount of checkpoints and the unlawful search that is just rampant in these bigger areas. We don't see that here yet, but I have no doubt in my mind that it's coming. So even though I agree with what you're saying, and I always end up coming to this when you're on the program, how do we apply this? I mean, obviously you're not, if somebody's pulling a gun on you, you're telling, you don't want to die because they're asking you for your driver's license, and you're just saying no, thank you. And I'm afraid that that's what it's going to get to. It's almost to that point now. People who are not immediately complying are being beat down, tasered, and just completely humiliated or incarcerated because they're not whimpering to this Gestapo tactics.
Well, everything is a matter of degree. But let me get back to what you were talking about: tyranny and soft tyranny.
Yes, sir.
Tyranny and soft tyranny, hard tyranny, however way you want to describe it, equals ignorance. You cannot have tyranny without ignorance. If the people knew and understood their rights, you wouldn't be able to have tyranny, because the tyranny operates under the assumption that it has power over the people. And that's all it is. I mean, you're talking about like the cops in Denver. Now,
yep.
A lot of those cops, of course, like in any other group of people, are good people. Okay? But the problem with the good people among the cops, and this is the part that scares me more. What scares me is not watching the one or two cops that are beating the hell out of someone. What scares me is the one or two guys that are standing around looking at it like it's normal practice. That's what scares me more than anything, because it lets me know that the other cops are used to seeing this behavior. And I mean, there's videos all over the internet showing this.
Mm-hmm.
And these cops don't realize that when they are beating you up, when they are putting handcuffs on you, when they're doing all these things, they're operating outside of their jurisdiction. They are only doing those things because they're getting away with it. The cop does not have the authority to step outside of his authority, and he does not have authority over anyone except those people that are working for their particular jurisdiction. Like the Denver charter makes it very clear that cops only have authority within their charter, and you know, it's a corporate charter just like any other charter.
All right. Hang tight on that. I went a little long on my little rant there, so we'll finish that thought and then get into your program on the backside of this break. We're going to be back with Freeman, Burt, and more Wide Awake News Radio. Hang tight. Okay, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, joined by Freeman, Burt from whatever. Freeman, Burt is coming to us from California. We're going to continue our discussion, and let's wrap up. You know, the point you were making. You were answering my question, and you were talking about, you know, all this. Tyranny, oppression. It is all done out of ignorance. And let's wrap that up so we can spend some time talking about your new program. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I have to correct you again in the intro. It's Colorado, not California.
Did I say California?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm losing. I'm sorry. I'm mesmerized by the stimulator video. I don't know who this guy is, but I think I got to meet him now because I love. I just watched one of that video I put into chat, and I love the video and that voice now. I'm gonna get a chuckle every time I hear it.
Oh, that's too funny. But no, getting back to something serious, the cops basically getting out of control. When I kind of started going down this path, I was actually giving policemen a lot more credit than I should have. And what I'm finding out is that most policemen don't even know, first of all, their own regulations. They have very little concept of common law, and they have little concept of law, period. Their idea is that if they see you violating a regulation, I was going to say something else. Then they feel that they have the authority and the right to use whatever necessary force to cause you to comply. Now, one easy way to make the comparison is pretend that you are in Walmart and you're going through Walmart, and you accidentally hit you're walking through the aisle where they have paper towels and stuff, and you accidentally with your elbow knock some rolls of paper towel down, and you start picking them up and putting them up. That would be the decent thing to do. But here comes the security guard and says, I'm sorry, you put those rolls in the improper order. See, according to Walmart's regulations, it's supposed to go this way and the label is supposed to be out this way, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, get lost, dude, and you start walking. Now, if that guy uses force on you to cause you to correct those rolls of paper towel, everybody would say, well, that's impossible. He cannot do such a thing to you. Well, but that's exactly what the cops are doing to you. They're trying to get you to operate on their level and follow their ridiculous regulations that they themselves don't even understand. And all they are is security guards. Cops hate it. Hate it when you tell them that, but
in fact they are. Did I lose you, Burt?
No, it's just my throat is losing me.
I think you were laughing too hard at that video.
I think so. So,
are you all right, buddy?
That's one way to think about it, is that if you believe a Walmart security guard has the right to use whatever necessary force to get you to comply with Walmart regulations, then okay, that you're in the proper scenario. If you don't believe that is correct, then that means that you have a remedy, which means now you can sue or counterclaim whatever accusation it is or whatever summons that policeman or security guard is trying to put on you.
All right. I got more questions on that line, but I'm not going to ask him because I know how quick the rest of this segment and the last segment is going to go. I announced at the beginning that you have a new a program that you were starting, and briefly, I read a little bit about it today in Skype when Karen sent me some info on it, and a little bit to you before the program. But it sounds very interesting. So why don't you lay it out for us?
Yeah, well, what I'm finding out is that it's very difficult to teach someone to stand for their rights, or to even attempt to stand in court without having a grip on some of the basic concepts of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm offering these classes, and you can access that video through to Do Not Consent 83 on YouTube, and the video is called what's my video called? Lawful, not legal.
Lawful, not legal lessons training.
Yeah, and what I'm offering basically is 2 lessons per month, 2 weeks apart, and I have different times available for people so that we can meet. And basically, I'm exchanging my knowledge, what I'm learning, and my time for 1 ounce silver coin, bullion coin, per month, or a $50 money order. And the idea with the silver coin is that, of course, if they send me silver coin, I have no attachments to the legal system whatsoever, because silver coin is outside of the Federal Reserve System and outside of the United States system or corporate system. And what I would like people to do is, for every coin that they send me, that they buy at least 1 for themselves and begin saving real money for themselves, which would be silver, bullion or gold. But silver is more affordable, and you never lose the value, because as the dollar loses value, of course, you're gonna get more dollars for your particular coin that you're using. And and during these lessons, we're taking things from the very basic comprehension of what it means to be free. And my goal is to get people to the point where they will feel comfortable and knowledgeable enough to countersue every time these municipal corporations try to come after you to enslave you with their regulations.
Outstanding. And how are you gonna facilitate this? Are you going to do a video and then send it out to the folks who are?
No, we actually meet online through Skype.
Oh, okay.
So they're live lessons, because people always have questions at the end, and this just makes it very effective for teaching.
And how long are the courses going to be?
Well, the course will probably go on as long as.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I mean, how long is one? I don't want to call it an episode.
One lesson is 2 hours.
Okay, so you're doing a 2-hour training twice a month for an ounce of silver, or $50 money, a $50 money order, correct?
Correct. And I think that's more than fair.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I know the amount of time you're putting into studying and research. First of all, have you launched the program yet?
Have I watched the program? What program?
No. Have you launched it? Have you started?
Oh yeah. I have people signing on. So I'm providing lessons already.
Okay, so if I signed on to your lessons and I missed a couple, are you recording? Are you archiving them somehow so you can?
I'm gonna start doing that. But because I'm always kind of updating the information, I'm still debating whether I should do that, because I'm just constantly basically improving the information. So I'm still debating whether I should archive it or not.
Okay, I think it would be a great idea if you did archive it, because if you had somebody come down the road 6 months or a year later, you could give them a lot of material that you've covered. But
if someone was to miss a lesson, there'll be plenty of opportunities during the month that they can catch up.
Yeah, right. Is the whole lesson period, this 2-hour period, is it a question and answer, or do you have, this is the topic I'm doing tonight, and have like a syllabus planned out type of deal?
Yes, I'll have a syllabus for each class, and then there'll be. I always try to leave a little bit of time at the end for questions. But if someone has questions, while we're going through, they have to ask it, because I will ask, like, do you understand what you just read? Do you understand what I just said? Because comprehension is key.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it sounds great. I mean, I hope you get a lot of people sign up for it, and I know that that this is your passion, and if the amount of work, if you're only asking a silver coin for the amount of work you're putting into it, it's certainly a more than fair, reasonable price. We're going to be back with Burt and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a minute. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio, final segment on this 13th day of March 2013. And I'm just going to jump right into it because I know Burt wants to talk about the court system. This is I think, our shortest segment. So, Burt, I'm going to turn it over to you. Go.
Okay, well, we were talking about it earlier about this lessons that I'm trying to provide for people. And the goal of the lessons is to give people enough information and enough confidence so that they will be able to countersue, okay, to enter into the court a counterclaim. So anyone listening needs to research what a counterclaim means. Now, there is a lot of misinformation out there, mostly produced by attorneys, okay, and even the judges sitting on the bench will tell you this. Oh, you cannot counterclaim a criminal case. This is a criminal case. You cannot counterclaim. You can only counterclaim a civil case. That's actually partly true. That is not the whole truth. A counterclaim in a criminal case can only be done on your part from a civil point of view, because criminal case are always brought by supposedly the state. A criminal case always comes from the state. You, as a man or woman, would bring a civil case. You cannot bring a criminal case. And if anyone would look at the court rules, you will come to find out that there's only one type of action, and it's called a civil action. There is no such thing as a criminal action. There's only criminal proceedings. Now, this, of course, is going to be over the head of most people, and that's why they need to learn some of the basics so that they can understand this very basic lingo that goes on in the court, which is all designed just simply to entrap you. And pretty much 99% of everything that goes on with the courts is not what people believe it is. And that's what I'm in the process of unraveling this thing to a point that, I mean, Gary's talking about a target. I mean, I don't know what kind of target I'm going to have on me once I complete this thing and get, because I have a few cases already in court right now where I'm pushing some of these things, and it's making the people in the courts very nervous, to put it mildly. But when you go to court to file a case, this is very important. There are two courts. There is the court of record, which would be like your common court, and then there's the administrative court. Well, 99% of all the cases end up in an administrative court. And you know that you are in an administrative court if they're talking statutes, if they're talking codes. That's always an administrative court, because it's no different if you were in a Walmart court and they start talking about Walmart regulation. You know
right.
that you're in a Walmart administrative court. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but again, it always takes me back to I believe you, but how am I supposed to use that? I mean, I know you've given us prime examples of what you've done in the past, or after talking to friends who asked for your help, have encouraged them to do. So, I mean, can you give us any more specific?
Well, I can give you a perfect example. If you get a traffic ticket, okay, which is what most people, that's what they're going to experience, their contact with the state. You get a traffic ticket, you have a man pretending to be an officer of a corporation giving you some kind of a summons under threat. Okay, don't bother with even dealing with that traffic ticket. You immediately file a counterclaim against that particular man that just gave you that ticket. No different than if I'm walking on the street and you come along and shake me down for whatever I have in my wallet. And then you accuse me of not giving you my wallet fast enough. I will counterclaim you and say you didn't have the right to try to shake me down for my wallet. It's a very simple concept. That's what counterclaiming is.
Well, go ahead.
But when you hire an attorney, the attorney never mentions the fact that you can counterclaim. He just goes to court and says, well, we need to just pay the fine, because we don't want you to lose your driver's license, so let's just minimize the points from 4 to 2 or 4 to 1 or whatever. And that's what the attorney always ends up doing for you.
Yeah, it convinces you that your better alternative is to plead.
Yeah, and like I said, if you countersue that cop, and from what I'm learning now, and this is going to sound crazy, when you counterclaim, if you do your counterclaim correctly, you will never go before a judge.
Explain that a little bit.
Because in order to be able to go before a judge or a magistrate, you have to be in an adversarial situation. You have to be involved in a controversy. Okay, that's in the court rules, and there's all kinds of case law backing that up. So if you enter your counterclaim, for example, and you name everybody in the state to where everybody becomes a defendant in your case, who can possibly show up in court that is not a defendant in your case? Because they all work for the same municipality. They all work for the same corporation. Like if I'm in Colorado or California, wherever, if I name, for example, the people of the state of California, well, everybody that's going to show up in court is one of them. So anyone who shows up to court is going to be a defendant. And when you go to court and you're the only man or woman standing in court, anyone else who stands there next to you on the other table is going to be the one carrying the liability. Okay, that's if you make it to court. But the truth is that in the court clerk's office, which is where you first begin your case, that is where your case can actually begin and end if you put in your paperwork correctly and you only deal with the court clerk and no one else. Because there's two sets of clerks in the court clerk's office. There are clerks of the court, and then there is the court clerk, or the court of record clerk. And there's only one of those in every court. And that's what it finally became clear to me, and I'm actually have evidence of that. Because whenever
is it a position that is you can successfully achieve the identity of that person?
Yeah, you can go to any court and find out who the court clerk is, okay, or who the court of record clerk is, and then ask any of the other clerks in there, do you have the authority to stamp my paperwork with the court of record seal? And you will find out that they don't. Only one clerk in that court has the authority to do that. All the other clerks are just actually working for the judges.
Where is the clerk with the authority? Are they in the court? I mean, are they located on the premises?
In the clerk's office. Every court has a clerk. But not all courts are courts of record. That's the other thing that people need to learn. Like traffic courts, those are not courts of record. Those are just plain old Walmart courts. So that's why you don't even want to go there and argue your case. You simply counterclaim and move it out of that court into the proper court. You immediately move it to a higher court. And you do that with a counterclaim by asking more money than that particular little court can award you. So if that court has a $15,000 limit, you counterclaim for $16,000, and that automatically takes that out of that court and moves it up to the next one, which is a court of record.
So let me see if I got this straight. You get a traffic ticket, right? And it's $250, and so you're gonna do what? You're not gonna go to the court and file your counterclaim. Are you gonna do this all through mail? Walk me through that process in 2 minutes.
You can actually go to that court, because if you don't go, they believe that what they're doing is correct. So if you don't show up to the court, they might send 5 cops to arrest you.
Right.
Okay. So don't take that risk. You're dealing with insanity. You're dealing with ignorance. Okay. So you very peacefully, very nicely go back to that clerk and say, hey, by the way, I'm counterclaiming you. Here's my counterclaim. What's the case number in this matter? Oh, thank you very much. Here's the case number written right here. Please stamp my copy. Now I'm taking this counterclaim to the next higher court. And if you have a hearing, you just go there and you tell the magistrate or whoever the guy there dressed in black is there. You say, hey, I'm here only to let you know that I'm counterclaiming this matter. There's nothing for me to tell you. We'll meet at the next court. Whoever is the plaintiff against me.
So you're moving wait a minute, are you moving from two courts then?
You're moving it from the low court to the higher court.
Right. And then what do you do when it's in that when that proceeding is scheduled
when
to start?
When it gets to the higher court, that's where things get tricky, because if you don't go about it correctly, they will trick you again into going back into an administrative court by getting you in front of a judge. Whenever you're in front of a judge, you're in the wrong place.
Well, okay, and obviously, with a minute left, we don't have enough time to break that down. But that's what I'm curious on. Then is what I'm following your procedure here. I'm following what you're saying. But then when it gets to that higher court, how do you avoid being tricked? I mean, are you? I mean, is it a matter of doing another filing at that point?
No, because and that's where like I said, where the knowledge is super critical. Because when you get to the higher court, you want to make sure that you are dealing with a court clerk, not a clerk of the court. Because a clerk of the court actually translates into secretary of the judges. Fascinating
stuff, Burt. And to think that, I mean, just this little segment of it here, right? I mean, the amount of hours that you must have poured into trying to, cipher through this. Seems $50 seems really cheap to try to impart that wisdom.
Well, and what I'm trying to do is instead of people going in a zigzag to accomplish their thing, I want them to go like an arrow straight to it.
Yeah. No, I get it. All right, give me real quick again. Where can they go to sign up for your course?
Do not consent 83, and then watch that little video, lawful, not legal lessons training.
Do not consent 83 on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do not consent 83 on YouTube. Go there, watch that video, follow the information. If you are inclined, sign up for it. I mean, you hear the information. He brings the program here with commercial breaks and about 20 minutes of talk time when we're not goofing around. Lots of information can be imparted from this gentleman. So go there, do not consent 83 on YouTube, watch the video, and if you feel drawn to do it, sign up for his courses. Freeman, Burt, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Yeah, and if they don't, I'm going to stick the stimulator on them.
Sign up or you'll get the stimulator. Oh, okay. All right, fella from a place called Colorado. We'll talk to you next time, probably next month. You bet. I hope you're well. All right, guys, stay tuned for Jeff. He is up next, and I'm informed that Lindsey Williams is on there, plus another guest who I don't remember right now. But it sounds like it's going to be a good program over there. So hang out, listen to Jeff. Tomorrow night on the program will be guest host. Probably Eric Lovely, hour number 1, and then guest host Matt Widener for hour number 2. I have a function to attend. Have a good night. Peace.